Hi guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thanks very much for joining me today. As you can see here, I have a review of Spectrum Noir's Aqua Markers. Now, um, all the way through 2017, I reviewed quite a lot of Spectrum Noir's products. Now, I was thinking about this the other day. I think that if I ran like an award ceremony for art supply companies, I think Spectrum Noir would win the award for the most amount of new products released in a year, because the people over at Spectrum Noir and Crafters Companion, they must have been working absolutely flat out for the last year, 2 years, because the amount of new products that they have brought out is just phenomenal. They already had like a full marker range, and then they also had aqua markers. Then they went ahead and they brought out two brand new lines: the illustrator marker, two alcohol lines, the illustrator markers, and then the graphic markers, 72 in each set. And now they've brought out a brand new aqua marker I don't think it's replaced. I'm not even sure whether it's replacing the old aqua markers. But nevertheless, they have this new set of aqua markers out. Now, the previous set of aqua markers, I'm nearly sure the biggest set was 48. And unfortunately, as with the Illustrator, the Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers and the Spectrum Noir graphic markers, I am unable to compare them to the older type markers that they have, because I have never used the older type ones. So unfortunately, I can't give you a comparison. I can't tell you whether these are much better or worse or whatever they are, but I can just tell you what my experience now is with them. So with the this new aqua line, aqua marker that Spectrum Noir have brought out, there's actually 72 in the set this time. Okay, so there's 4 sets of 12. There'll be images coming up on your screen now showing you the various sets that you can get. So there's 4 sets of 12 and 4 sets of 6. And as you can see here with these ones, they're broke down into, as with all of Spectrum Noir's stuff, they're broke down into, I guess you would say, manageable art size bites, whatever, like florals, landscape, botanicals, basics, primaries, nature, those types of things. It gives you an idea of the type of colours that you can expect inside the sets. But as you can see here on the front, there's kind of like a very basic swatch of the colours that you'll get in that particular set. Same with the 6 set here, you just get like a basic swatch. And then if you turn the packs over, you get a better rundown of the colour swatch that they have there. And they also have the names of the colours written down here in 3 different languages, I think it is. Yeah, 4 different languages. So you can see there, and this is actually really quite handy, and I'll explain why in a second. So let me turn those back over. Now, when you get your box and you open them out, this is how the markers come. So they come in this like little tray, and they're just like the illustrator markers and the graphic markers, in that they have this hexagonal barrel, which makes, actually, for when you're stacking these things, if you don't have like a proper stacking system or anything like that, which incidentally Spectrum Noir have a fantastic stacking system. I don't actually have one, but and it's really, really inexpensive in comparison to a lot of different things that are out there. But like I say, I don't actually have one to show you, but hopefully one day I'll get my hands on one. I'll be able to show you some. But anyway, on to the actual marker itself. So like I said, it's a hexagonal barrel, and with the illustrator markers, it's kind of like a very, very light grey, and then with the graphic markers it's a dark grey, and now with the aqua markers it's got this blue type barrel. So if you've got all three sets and you've just got them all lumped into a box, you know you'll be able to pick them out, no problem at all. As you can see here, along the barrel, you have a brush tip on one side and a fine tip on the other side, just indicating to you which side, you know, which lid you're going to take off. But also, if you have a look here, there's just like a white line, and that is round every single one of them, where the fine tip point is going to be. So if you remember that the white line is for the fine tip, then you know that the other side is the brush tip. Now, the colours are indicated on each lid, and also the colour, the pigment name is written on the lid as well on both of them. So it doesn't matter which way you slide this into. If you do have a stacking system, it doesn't matter which way you put it in. You know, you're still going to be able to see the pigment identification, and you're going to be able to read the name of the pigment as well. So that's a good thing. Now, the thing that I really liked about these, before I get into this, my preferred style of art is alcohol markers and colour pencil. I love doing art with those two mediums combined. So, but at the same time, I love dabbling with pastels and I love dabbling with watercolours. So when I seen these, I thought to myself, well, this is going to be brilliant because I'm not very good at watercolour, but I enjoy playing about with it. And because it's in the style of a marker, and I'm used to alcohol markers, I'm hoping this is going to give me some sort of edge over it, and it did. And I think that if you're an alcohol-based marker artist and you've used alcohol-based markers for a long time and you're really comfortable with that type of medium, but you want to try watercolor, I think this is going to be a fantastic introduction into watercolor because it's a medium that you're going to be already used to. But this little fine tip, when I'm doing watercolor work, I like to do botanical type work, or like flowers, that type of thing. And this little fine tip is fantastic for that style of art, and I'll show you why in a second. So let me just move these boxes over to the side a little bit. And I've got a little bit of hot pressed watercolor paper. So it's a really smooth surface. Now, obviously, depending on what type of watercolor paper you're going to be using, it will very much depend on the outlook and stuff like that and how the markers react. But I used it on cold press rough, and the effects that I got were really, really nice. In fact, actually, at the end of this, there'll be a couple of links to two bits of art that I've done. One using the Spectrum Noir Aqua Markers. So these, in conjunction with Spectrum Noir's new colour pencils called the Colour Tint. Now, if you're really interested in those pencils, they will be coming out in the February issue of Colour Pencil magazine. So, you know, if you're really interested in finding out more about those pencils, definitely get the magazine, because the review of those is, I mean, they're a pretty special pencil. So the first drawing, I'll have links for the speed drawings down below, is a flower, and it's used with the aqua markers and the colour tint. The other drawing is of a manga thing called Spirited Away that I've done, and it's using, again, these markers and a combination of the colour tint, the colorista, and the aqua blend. So it's all watercolour. But you can get the links for those down below. So let's get on with showing you how these markers work. So actually, I'll use a slightly darker colour so it'll come up better. So like I said, bottom line is these are markers first and foremost. So you can use this like a marker. You don't have to start activating it with water or anything like that. But as you can see here, when this comes out, let me just zoom in a little bit there for you. It is, you can tell it's not like an alcohol-based marker because it's really, really juicy. It's almost like that there's water coming out a lot as well. But So you don't have to activate it with water at all. You can just use it as a marker if you like. Also, like I was saying to you, you have this really, really fine detailed nib. It's kind of like a plastic nib. There we go. It's kind of like plastic, and then you have this reservoir at the top. The brush side of the marker is a really nice brush. It's really excellent for laying down colours. You could just see there, you can get a lot of colour laid down with it. You can get a little bit of detail with it as well, but then that's what the fine nib is for in any case. If you're looking to do really intricate work. But once you've got your color laid down like that, then you would go and get your water and just activate it and use it whatever way you want. Now you've seen there, I left this one here a little bit longer than I did this one, and it's left this mark underneath. So although you don't have to work really fast with these, you can't leave them forever in a day and then go back to it, because you will have that you will have like a little bit of a mark left underneath it. So that is something to be mindful of whenever you're using these. Fill in your space, fill in the area that you're going to be colouring. So something like that, and then you get your water and then activate it. Obviously, depending on which way you want to do it. But you can see there, the more water you use, the lighter the pigment becomes, and then you can use it. Especially, this is excellent for like skies and stuff like that. And like I said, for botanical work. Now, when I was talking about the little the fine nib, the reason why I think it's a fantastic addition to this marker is, if you're doing like, when you're doing botanical work and you've got those petals that have like the little veins on them and stuff like that, or leaves and that type of thing. If you wet your paper and then you go in with your fine nib and you run it along the water here, the wet page. I think I've put a little bit too much water down there, because what it's done is it's basically taken the pigment off there. But you can see there the feathering effect that you get with it. Like if whenever you're doing like a leaf or something like that, and you've got those little veins, they're not straight lines or anything like that. And the reason I like this is because you can see there, you get this feathering effect, and it gives you a little bit more, I don't know, just a more realistic effect, I suppose, whenever you're doing these little veins on petals or leaves or anything like that. Now, you can also, obviously, wet your page and use the brush marker, but you have to be mindful of the same type of thing happening, because when you're using these brush tips on a wet surface, it is going to take the pigment off the brush tip much quicker. And sometimes if you're doing a big area, you'll have to give the marker a little second or two to, I'm not too sure whether you can see that there, but you can see the tip of that marker is a lighter blue, because I've been touching the wet paper with it, and so it's absorbed it up much quicker than it ordinarily would do. So you just got to give it another second or two to fill back up again. But you can see there the different effects that you can get with it. It's really, really nice. Now, another thing that you can do as well is, whenever you're using these markers, just blending them, you can get some plastic palettes where you mix your aqua markers. Unfortunately, I don't have one here to show you, but I'm just going to use this paper. So you would have your two markers there, And whenever you're blending them in together, you can see there that they blend very, very well indeed. Get you the colour that you're after. But if you have some of these, you can get these pallets that are either paper or like a hard plastic, and one side is rough and the other side is smooth. But it allows you to do this type of thing with aqua-based markers, and then you can mix your colours in better. Whenever you're doing it on paper like this, obviously you're not going to get as much pigment back off if you're looking to then go and paint with it like that. But there you could see the green colour that was achieved there from blending those two colours together. So I've done a colour swatch here, but I'll have some images coming up on the screen where you can see a better indication of this range. But you can see there the different colours that is in this full 72 set. You can see there's plenty of pinks and yellows. You know, it's a really good colour selection. It's exactly what you would expect from 72 colours, actually. I think you know, there's some really gorgeous colours here. Some of this orchid colour, this red violet, this crimson, beautiful greens and stuff like that. Really, really nice selection of colours in this 72 range, and there's some really nice light colours. But don't forget, once you have these colours, and because they're water based, then you know you can water them down and blend them together and create your own colours with them, which is what is really unique and special about having these markers. So, like I said to you, they come in sets of 12 and 6. Just let me move this in. They come in sets of 12 and 6. So, if you want to see all the full price list and stuff like that, go over to the Art Gear Guide. I have all the prices in pounds, dollars, and euros. Unfortunately, I don't have any prices for Australia because Australia don't have Amazon yet, and that's where I get all my prices from, because it's just a simple generic way of putting prices down rather than going to, say, like an art store in Australia, because Australia is a big place and that art store may just be for one area. But I've been told that Amazon is going to be setting up like a proper store in Australia soon. It was actually somebody from Australia that told me that you can't, it's only clothes or something I think that you can get, or books. Anyway, so for the 12 set, I'll just give you a rough idea of the pricing, but like I said, the pricing's over in the Art Gear Guide. So for a set of 12, you're looking at about £16 or £15 per set. And then if you're looking for a 6 set, it's about £9, £10, that type of price range for 6. And then if you're in America, you're looking at a 6 set will cost you about $15, $19. Obviously, these are just Amazon prices. You're quite welcome to have a little look around, because you know you just never know, especially if you've got coupons for your local art supply store or whatever. You might pick them up cheaper, or £23 for $23 for the 12 set. So for American prices, $23 for the 12 set and about $15, $19 for the 6 set. Now these markers aren't refillable. You can't get refills for them or anything like that, but you can get replacement brush tips from Crafter's Companion and Spectrum Noir if you wanted to. I'm not too sure about this tip. I'm not too sure if you can get replacements for that, because that tip, I'm not even sure if that tip comes out. I'll have to have a look at that and see. But I know you can definitely get replacement brush tips, because on the graphic markers, actually out of the graphic and the Illustrator markers, I prefer the graphic markers, because the brush tip on the graphic markers is slightly smaller than this brush and slightly firmer. which is just the type of brush that I prefer. I think the graphic markers are absolutely amazing markers. So if you wanted to, you could buy yourself a few packs of that particular brush marker and put them in there, and it would give you that type of brush. But all in all, I've really enjoyed working with these markers. Like I said, I have links down below for the two different artworks that I've done. They're just speed drawings or speed paintings that I have up on YouTube now, so you can go across and see them if you want to. The idea of those two videos is just to give you an idea, just to give you an indication of how the markers work in conjunction with like watercolor pencils, that type of thing, and hopefully it'll give you a good idea as to the different methods and stuff like that you can use. But that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by and for watching the this review. I hope this review has been helpful for you. By all means, if you've got any questions, please leave them down below in the description box and I'll certainly get back to you. Or if you wish, just send me an email and I'll get back to you. I know I've been neglecting getting back to people lately, but like I said, the first 2 weeks before Christmas and the first 2 weeks in January here, I've had a lot of things going on. I've not been in the best of health, and but the first 2 weeks in January here, I've been trying to plan the year out and stuff like that because I have a mountain of products to review. I've got so many different products to review. It's unbelievable, but it'll certainly see me through all of this year. There will be reviews coming thick and fast, and there will also be giveaways as well this year. So keep an eye out for all of that stuff because I'm always eager to do giveaways and give back to you guys. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for all your help and support over the years. And don't forget, go across to the Art Gear Guide. There's loads of other reviews over there, plus loads of links to the different artworks that I've done over the 2017. And you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. The links for that will also be down below or over on the Art Gear Guide. All the best, guys, and see you soon. Bye.